Hey friends, this is Elitza here with lovely Tamara, and we will be doing the energy of the month of May 2024. We have three questions that we'll be asking the energy, the universal energy. We'll pull in cards and we'll have like a discussion of what cards we pull, like how do you see the energy stepping forward for the month of May. We'll be using my favorite cards, the Shaman's Dream Oracle deck, and I do have the Archangel Raphael Oracle deck, and my other Mystical Shaman Oracle. What cards you gonna use, Tamara?
Today, I am going to use the Wisdom of the Hidden Realms.
Mm.
And at the end, I thought what I could do is I also have I could pull a card specific for self-love because I have this beautiful self-love oracle deck,
Yes,
something that maybe we can reflect and focus on for ourselves for the month of May.
perfect. All right. So the first question I asked the energy was, what is like the overall theme for the month of May 2024? And the card that jumped from the deck was the card of the moon. And it's, to me, it's all about the feminine energy stepping into that flow with that cycles of the moon, reflecting, um, allowing to feel in the fullness and then the emptiness, allowing to feel the light and allowing to feel the darkness as well, because we exist with both of them. It's not just the light or just the darkness. They're like combination of both. And for the month of April was more like masculine energy, like fire stepping into the actions of understanding and mastering our craft. But for the month of May, the energy is asking us to take a break for a moment, step back, and lean into that flow. So to add on that card, the next card that I pulled was the Dragon's Hoard, protecting the future. So it's a beautiful dragon with that is holding a gem in maybe in his arms with some keys, and it's like to me is this the gem, the light inside represents that essence within us that sometimes it takes time for us to cultivate, to nourish it, to be able to grow to its fullest potential. But if we're constantly doing things, we're not aware, we're not paying attention of what this
No.
seed is within us, and we kind of push it to the side, we ignore it, we don't nourish it, we don't water it. And we know that without watering and proper care, this thing, this essence, the seeds won't grow. So
Yep.
for the next question, what do we need to release to bring us alignment with the energy of the month of May? The card that jumped for me was the covenant, the sacred contract. And it's perfect because these are all contracts that we make with each other, with our families, with our friends, co-workers, that we tend to live this over and over on a daily basis that are not necessarily based on our own value system.
Yes, we talked about
And
that last month. Yeah.
exactly, yes. And these all are pushing us away from what is authentically us, right? So having that time to step back and reflect on, okay, this is not me. This is not connected with me. This is not how I see the world. This is just a thought, a belief that I adopted from somebody, or maybe from parents, or maybe from teacher at school or friends. It doesn't matter. Like we adopted these thoughts and beliefs and we take them as ours. And we base our own things, our own life on these beliefs that are not ours. So maybe
Yeah.
to reflect on that.
If I can add something to that.
Mhm.
So, in a session that I had last week, somebody challenged me and with the negative thought process that happens in the head, right? Because we
Mhm.
have it, it's there, and what we do with it is how we move forward, right? So I was challenged, and the person said to me, whose voice is it? Whose voice is it? So when
Mhm.
you tell yourself you're not worthy, or you tell yourself or give yourself these excuses that you feel stuck and you can't move forward, whose voice is it? Is it
Mhm.
your voice, or is it a voice from the past that has told you that you're this way, or that you're that, whatever that is, that's you believe, that's stuck in your head? And it could be from parents, could be from family members, friends, whatever the case may be, whose voice is actually saying those things. So if we stop, pay attention, and take a minute and think about
Mhm.
that and contemplate that, most likely it's not going to be your voice. It's going to be something that you've been told in the past that you are. Right.
Mhm. Yeah,
Yeah.
and you accepted it as yours.
Yeah.
'Cause we all do that.
Yeah.
Great. Thanks for adding that, Tamara. And I'll move on to the third question. The third question that we ask is what energy or belief we are not aware, and that energy or belief is blocking us to move forward. So the card that I pulled was reconciliations, wailing 3. Is this
Mm,
again in the theme of slowing down for a moment, observing all these contracts that we have with people around us, um, and reconcile again, what is mine and what is yours, what is aligned with my beliefs and what is not aligned,
yeah.
and don't have like it gotta be non-negotiable, accepting things that you feel align with yourself and releasing things that are not you,
Yeah.
if that makes
Yeah.
sense.
It does make sense. And I think that
Mhm.
asking, like, it sounds like a simple question, but sometimes it may not be. But
Yeah.
asking the question of how does this make me feel?
Mhm.
Because if it makes me feel good and joyful and I feel energized and I'm like a rock star in this moment, then that's what I'm going to go with. If I'm feeling depressed or sad or lagging or stuck, then that's not serving me. So this is something that has to be like dealt with and gotten rid of
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
allowed more movement and more flow for the things that make me happy. So that's
Yeah.
something that I've incorporated that question in my life quite a bit. I do find that when the more I use it, the more traction and the more happiness and joy there is that comes with it. So how
Mhm.
do I feel about whatever that is?
Whatever that is. Yeah, it's a good point to
Yeah.
add. And then the card that I pulled from the Archangel Raphael deck was the card of acceptance. And there's a little prayer at the bottom, like, Dear God, or universe, or energy, however you want to rephrase it. And Archangel Raphael, please help me accept that everything is going in the right direction. Oftentimes, when people hear, oh, just be in the flow, oh, stay in the flow, they're like, but how? I need to keep going. I need to keep taking action steps because nothing will move forward, right? And the way we allow ourselves to step back and to be in that flow is through acceptance and through trust in the energy that this is the right thing we need to do at this very moment.
Yeah. And by
So,
taking that moment, it helps us integrate, right? It
mhm,
helps us integrate. It helps us understand ourselves better. It helps
mhm,
us move forward in directions we never thought possible because we were feeling stuck.
mhm,
And sometimes when we're busy and we're doing versus being, we tend, or I've tended to, like, this is something that I've done, is either it's a spiritual bypass or an emotional bypass
mhm.
where I'm not going to deal with this, but I'm going to jump over here because this, I don't like this dark. I want the light, right? So sometimes we just have to stop and sit with what's going on
Yeah.
instead of bypassing it. Yeah.
Mhm, mhm.
Yeah.
So what do you have for us, Tamara?
So, out of the wisdom of the hidden realms, the first card I have, which I got to remember the questions we asked, but the collective energy for
Mhm.
May 2024, it's the Fire Prince. So this one
Mm,
here is the Fire Prince. I feel like there's a lot of energy coming from the ground, coming through. Lots of fire, lots of power.
mhm,
The two words that are on this card are talking about optimism and aggression. So
okay.
I think that we need to sit with stuff sometimes, right? And figure out where we're going and have that optimism that we are on the right path. Um, I think that this card has so much power behind it. It talks
Mhm.
about manifesting and knowing that we can have the confidence moving forward, especially in with when we're in alignment with ourselves and what we want.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, I think it's, yeah, I think this card is super powerful just with all the fire coming up from below
Mhm.
and coming through the hands from one hand into a torch. Um, and it's all swirly. It's like a phoenix rising up, right?
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
that's kind of how I feel the energy. I'm getting emotional. Whew. That's how I feel the energy of May becoming that way, right?
Mhm.
I feel that
It's the
power within
creation.
us,
Yeah.
that creation, yeah. And that it gives hope, and it gives, I think it gives just that realization that we have every power that we can have inside of us and manifest whatever we want and whatever we
Mhm.
believe ourselves to be, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. When I'm
Yeah.
looking this card, to me, like the colors is what like
Mhm.
attracts me the most. And to
Yeah.
me, these are all sacral center and solar plexus combined all together creation and expressing that creation, but
Yeah.
allowing it to grow inside you, nourish it, and then
Yeah.
through your arms, spread it out when the time is the right time.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Whew,
Mhm.
that one got me. Yeah, absolutely. Um, Powerful card. The second one that I pulled was the question was what we need to release to be in alignment, correct?
Mhm.
So this one is the Rainbow Prince. So I pulled two princes and a queen today. So this one here is the Rainbow Prince. The
Mhm.
colors are just
Beautiful.
the
Yeah.
rain, like it's just
Mhm.
beautiful, the rainbow. Yeah. So the two words on the top of the card are compensation and perseverance. So sometimes, again, this is showing how we need to stop and slow. We need to ease the process sometimes. We need to realize that all our hard work, we might not get compensation for it today, but in the future it's going to happen. So we need to allow that space, right? And realize that we're putting in the effort, right? And the effort will come back tenfold. Um, I like this because he's holding the rainbow in his hands and he's got his other hand like this. So it's like the acceptance and the
Mhm.
release, right?
Mhm.
Um, just looking towards the sky. It's always like when you have a rainstorm and it's a huge rainstorm and you feel like you're never going to get out of this rainstorm, right? At the end, there's a beautiful rainbow and they're so
Mhm.
vibrant and colorful. And just thinking that no matter what happens or no matter what we're doing or what we're persevering in that moment, when we allow, let go, surrender,
Mhm.
that all of this will pay off, right?
Yeah.
Um, and probably in more ways than we could even think of,
Think of.
right?
Yeah.
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 So,
I agree. And it's like, again, if you go back to the moon phases, how we talk about like being in the light and being in that emptiness, in the darkness. If we just strive for the rainbow all the time, we can have the rainbow all the time. We need to have the storm. We need to have that darkness, right? To appreciate the rainbow.
in the
Mhm.
background there, there's a
Mhm.
moon in a
Mhm.
certain phase.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It has to be a balance. Well, not has to be, but it is a balance of
It
both,
is a
right?
balance.
Yeah.
It's all balance. We inhale, we
Yeah.
exhale. It's like 50-50, right? It's not one
The
or
yin
the
and the
other.
yang, the
Yeah,
sun and
it's
the
not only
moon.
day or
Yeah.
only night. There's a balance of some
Yeah.
sort.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yes. I love that. So the last one is the Shadow Queen. And this
Mm,
one is about acquiring knowledge, insecurity, and manipulation. So this goes along with the question about what we don't know that we need to release to move
yes,
forward. Is that
yes.
correct?
Mhm.
that.
Hmm. So there will be a shadow work brought
Yes.
to us.
Yeah. I
Mhm.
think this one is it talks about insecurity and manipulation. So we have to again realize what's ours and what's not. Right. So when we become aware of that, we're in our own truth. Right. And
Mhm.
then it's easier for us to do what's right for us, not anyone else. Um, this one in the book, it also talks about how we need to move slower. We need to move a little bit slower, not so fast again. So that's kind of a theme through these cards.
Mhm.
Um, and when we have that patience and the clarity and our knowledge, because it talks about acquiring knowledge. So the more we do, the more we be, the more we're learning about ourselves, the more knowledge we're going to have about ourselves and what we want, right? And how that can propel us forward. Because that's what I really feel May is about. I think I said it before, is like
Mhm.
that propelling that
Yeah.
fire within us that's coming out,
Mhm.
right? And then being aware of our dark side, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
here, like
Mhm.
this light's coming from her hand, and I feel like that's symbolizing like she's dressed in this dark cloak. That's the dark side,
Mhm.
and then all of a sudden, this light can come forth from us if we take the time and really understand ourselves,
Mhm.
right? And what
Beautiful.
stops us.
Beautiful.
Yeah,
Yeah. 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 And
yeah,
accept that of as part of who we are, not push it
yeah,
away, not ignore it, not being ashamed
yeah,
of that dark side,
yeah. And if we think
that
of like
shadow.
this kind of popped into my head. So if we think about a child and they're running and they're gaining momentum and all of a
Mhm.
sudden they can't stop because they have all this momentum and then they hit the ground and they
Mhm.
trip and they fall and they hurt
Mhm.
themselves. So if we like think of that in an energetic way or in how we're applying ourselves in our lives daily, if we're running full force and not looking at what's around us or within us, specifically
Mhm.
within us, then we could fall flat on our face and it could cause more trouble, like more issues for us. It could be physical, mental,
Mhm.
emotional,
Mhm. Absolutely. Yeah.
darkness, right? I don't know how else
Absolutely.
to put that, but yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think it's a
Beautiful.
pretty powerful, I think it's going to be a powerful month based on what your
Yes.
cards have said and what my cards have said.
It's gonna be a powerful month. I agree.
Yeah.
So this morning, I felt the energy of a tigress. I'm sorry, tigress, stepping to support the energy of the month of April, and
Mm,
she comes with this beautiful and strong energy of creation and sexuality, and it's all about like creating from within to be put it out there, whether it's like craft or your mastery, whatever it is that you feel
yeah.
called to do.
Yeah.
So she will be very strongly, her energy is very strong in the month of
It's
May.
a very feminine, very
Mhm.
strong feminine side.
Mhm.
Um, which is interesting because this month I've had a lot of trouble on my left side. My neck hurts
Mhm.
or my elbow hurts. So it's like a lot of this feminine energy coming in, I think, is stirring that part of my system, not realizing it prior to this conversation. It just
Mhm.
clicked into my head. Um, and understanding that,
Yeah. Do you want
yeah.
to talk about a little more about the masculine and the feminine energy and how they are tied in together? Because sometimes when people hear about like feminine energy, they have a different perception about that. Um, Maybe just say a few things about how do you
Um,
see?
so
Because
for
from
so what I see, what I feel when
Mhm.
it comes to feminine energy is Mother Earth. So
Mhm.
nurturing, caring, loving, almost like a mother holding a baby and just like rocking, like very gentle, very, yeah, gentle, that
Mhm.
kind of
Mhm.
energy. It can also be a very powerful energy if you think about our
Yes.
cycles, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
And some cultures that deem it as like sacred, right? In Western culture, not so much. And in understanding other cultures and the spiritual aspect of things, I think it's like one of the most powerful things, like how much power do we hold in ourselves, right? As a
Mhm.
feminine, with
Mhm.
the feminine energy. Um, the masculine energy for me is the protector, like the warrior, the one who will stand up, who will protect. I don't know how else to say that. Just it's more of it's not a darker energy. How do I say that? It's dark and light. Yes. And I find the masculine energy I have trouble with masculine energy because I've had trouble with masculine energy in my life.
Mhm.
So for me, I'm just learning what the masculine means to me, right?
Mhm.
And I'm also still learning what the feminine means to me, right? Because throughout my life, there's been this resistance against it and how I was taught to live and everything else, right?
Mhm.
So coming into my 40s, mid 40s, it's like I'm like only learning my femininity and my masculinity and when these come out and
Mhm.
how I act when these come out and how these bring forth situations and things in my life, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, how about you? Like, I'm not sure if I've answered your question. I think I have.
Mhm.
Masculine energy I feel is coming from like the heavens above, and Mother Earth is from the earth, so it's like this connection of the two.
Mhm.
And when we think about our crown chakra, it's coming the masculine energy, and then the feminine energy is coming from the ground, so it's just like this if you think of our chakra system, just like a
Mhm.
swirl of these energies within our bodies.
Yeah, 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 makes sense. To me, like masculine energy is the one who takes action, the one who is a doer, the one who is a protector, as you said, like the warrior. Not the feminine energies also could be a warrior, and it's a very
Yes, I
strong and
agree.
powerful energy.
Yeah.
The power of the sun is a strong masculine energy. The power of the moon, we connect. I connect with the feminine energy, and they cannot go. Um, by themselves. They cannot go separate. They need to be together, and they need to have that balance between like
The
both
masculine.
energies, the
Yeah.
masculine and the feminine. And you
Yeah.
see, when we go about the day, you can if you observe people, I like to watch people and observe their behavior and the way we communicate, and I can easily say who is leaning more into the masculine energy and who is more into the feminine energy, just by the how they talk, how they what they do and how they do it, how they present themselves in the world, and
Yeah.
what troubles could cause if they lean too much into the feminine or too much into the masculine energy.
Yeah.
So as I said, like the masculine is like doing things,
Yeah.
but if you go too much into the doing and feeling like I'm busy all the time, that's not productive at all.
No,
You got to
and we're
find
not feeling.
balance.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and we're
you
not
got to balance
feeling. Yeah.
with
Yeah, I
the
think
feminine, where it's like more, as you said, nourishing energy. But for the nourishment, it takes time, right? You need to step back of the
yeah,
doing and
yeah,
allowing to be nourished, allowing this energy to come through you, the mother energy to come through you and nourish the essence within you. If that makes
yes.
sense.
Yeah, and
Mhm.
integration, like, that's a big thing for me, and I find
Mhm.
that, sometimes I feel like it takes me a little longer to integrate things, or I see, like, and not even comparing, maybe I'm comparing a little bit, but when I see other people around me and they're doing all of this stuff, and I'm like, "Oh, man, like, I wish I was there," but you know what? I'm okay here because I'm also integrating as I go along,
Mhm.
and that's how I have been for a long time. So you do, and then you
Mhm.
be, and
Mhm.
then
Yeah.
being in whatever energy you're creating, you need to integrate that energy so it becomes more of a way of life versus a one-time deal, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
And that to me feels like a lot of feminine energy coming in with that. It's like sitting and healing and taking the time and resting, rejuvenating, being
Absolutely.
with ourselves, right? So
But
that,
if
yeah.
I've come across through my coaching experience as well, people who lean too much into the healing aspect and they get stuck into the
Yep.
healing and to that waiting
Yeah.
stage, leaning too much into the feminine and not taking action to whatever
Yes.
they're creating to actually put it out there.
I
Um,
agree.
right?
Yeah.
So you gotta have a balance between both of
Yeah.
them. You can't
Yeah. I
go
agree.
too much in one extreme or the other.
Yeah.
It's not healthy.
No, it's not. And
Mhm.
I totally agree with that, that sometimes there's a place for both in our lives, right?
Mhm.
And when we recognize that and see that and create that balance, that's like impactful and powerful in itself, having that balance and knowing when it's time to
Mhm.
rest and knowing when it's time to do and move
Mhm.
forward and create more, right?
Mhm.
Um, no, that's a very good point. And I have experienced, yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
It's going on these paths of healing and,
Mhm.
getting to know ourselves more. You can never unknow what you know. So no matter what we know, and I'm going to use this word a lot, no matter what we know and we're healing, or I would prefer to say, as I'm going, I am healed, right? So as I'm doing, as I'm integrating, as I'm moving forward in my life, those
Mhm.
things are helping me heal, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
And by saying I'm on this healing journey, like having this like ing, like
Mhm.
healing, having ing means you're forever going to be reaching for healing. Like ing is never ending. The
Mhm.
ing of the healing is never ending. So to me, that means like if I'm doing something in the moment, it's helping me heal in this moment, right? Versus
Yeah.
striving to be healing all the time, right?
Healing all the
And
time.
it's
Yeah.
so small and it's so subtle, yet it's so impactful. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Thanks for sharing that, Tamara.
You're welcome.
Do you have a last
I
message that
have
we can
one last card. So
Okay.
this is our self-love oracle. And speaking of heal, I did
Mhm.
not realize that that is the card that I pulled.
Okay.
So I did not realize that until just now. So on the bottom of this card, it said wounds need to be acknowledged before they can heal, especially those unseen. Give yourself the time, space, whatever is necessary to regain your wholeness. So
Mhm.
again, it's telling us to give ourselves time, give ourselves the space to slow down, to surrender to the flow. Um, I think when we do that, we can acknowledge ourselves even deeper.
Mhm.
We have a deeper understanding and acknowledgement of ourselves when we
Mhm.
slow the pace.
Beautiful. So
Yes.
in alignment with the energy of the month of May 2024. Okay, well, that's all for this month. I'm looking forward to the next month. Again, no rushing, no rushing. We got to experience the energy first of the month of May. We'll see you next month.
Sounds good. Thank you, Elitza.
Thanks, Samara. Bye.